fact checkers are out on the president's remarks last night. Leslie Marshall is a radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor, and Lars Larson is host of the Lars Larson Show and a conservative radio talk show host. Panel, thank you both so much for being here. Avik Roy, who we had on the show last week, he came out and did a little fact-checking on the president's discussion about how these are all supposedly subpar plans, and people don't have to worry because they're subpar. And he challenged the president on that, as we have on this show, because we've had witness after witness, if you will, come on and say they loved their plans, they had great plans, and they're sick and tired of hearing the president and others working for him come out and say they were lousy, Lars.
Megan, imagine the incredible arrogance of this president who defrauded America. He said he lied to the American people to sell this plan. And then he turns around and says, well, the reason you're losing your plan is it was a lousy plan to begin with. That's not the government's job to decide. And yet the president has taken that upon himself. And he's decided we're going to kill your plan and force you into a plan that we tell you is better. But on the numbers, it's not, as you just pointed out. Mark says even with the subsidies, if you've got a much higher deductible, it doesn't make any difference to your family. If you don't reach the deductible, you're paying it all out of pocket. So all the subsidy means is the insurance company gets more money and America gets more debt.
The other thing, Leslie, he came out and talked about was how it's only 5% of the population. You know, it's the individual insurance market, basically, you know, which is 15 million people. But there have been reports that when we get to the employer-sponsored insurance and the mandate kicking in on those people, we could be looking at as many, well, over 100 million policies that will be altered significantly or canceled.
Well, currently, the employer-sponsored insurance programs, over three-quarters of them do meet the legislation. I don't think that the president thus far, his 5% is going to be off, because when you look at the 15 million, 6% of those who have insurance in our country, yes, there are going to be some losing. To be honest with you, Megan, what bothers me, even though I'm a Democrat, is it's only 5%. I think 5% is a lot, even though it's very small compared to our population. Yes, and that bothers me. That bothers me. You know, I have a few sides of this, medically and not just politically. What we need to do, not just the president, but as a nation, is the transition for this has been abominable. I've said this before. The bottom line here is the president has to do something, and our representatives have to do something and come together on this. And
well,
it shouldn't
what about
just
this
be
plan,
about
though?
politics. It should be about easing the pain.
If they're thinking about giving premium subsidies to people who didn't need them before and don't want the coverage that they're going to pay for now, I mean, how is the public going to react to that, Lars, to the point that Mark Thiessen was just making?
Megan, they should react to it viciously, because here's what's going to happen. You already have a plan. For example, in my neck of the woods, a single individual who makes up to $46,000 a year already qualifies for subsidy. A family of four making up to $90,000. These are not poverty cases, and yet the president plans to put them on the dole. You know, I take seriously the charge that people have said that the president is the food stamp president. He put more Americans on food stamps than anybody ever has before, and now he obviously intends to put tens of millions of American families, some of them middle class, onto a form of welfare through their insurance.
What of it, Leslie? We're looking at $17 trillion in a national debt, and now he's going to talk about giving premium subsidies to people for policies they didn't want when they were paying for their own policies with which they were perfectly happy until Obamacare.
Bottom line is that's going to cost more money. Congress isn't going to approve it, and of course you need legislative approval for that. Do I think the president's talking about that right now at the White House? Absolutely. Isn't going to happen, cost more money, not a good idea. What is a good idea is to extend the insurances for people to the end of the year that have their plan and like it, but they will change going forward, as insurance plans often do, to extend the enrollment period to the period of time, I believe, that it takes to fix the website. At the end of the month, we will see if that happens, but not what I think Lars and his buddy want, which is to delay for 1 year the individual mandate, although I think the president will think about that.
I don't want to delay.
He's not going to do that to his landmark legislation.
Megan,
quickly, Lars, I
got to tell you something. I don't want it delayed. I want this thing done away with, because you can't, if you go back and try and give these people their policies back, you can't do it. The law doesn't allow it.
That's the problem. They've already been canceled. They've already been kicked off. The relationship with the doctor has already been severed. Panel, thank you both.
Impeachment.
Thank you.